Hello and welcome to another Skaredcast video. Today, we're going to be looking at the Witch Cult list that I'm running for the end of 9th edition, Triple Tantalus. We're going to go over the list itself, the units I'm using, things that I've learned, and pros and cons, as well as some tips and tricks to running a gladiatorial Dark Eldar army.
Dark Kid.
Now, when we come back, we'll have a better understanding of the list itself, and we'll guesstimate what to expect in the new edition of Warhammer 40,000, because I would love to be able to run this in the future. So let's dive into the list, and I hope you learned something about witches. Here is the list in all of its glory. 2,000 points of Witch Cult. Now, you can run this Witch Cult as any of the Witch Cults that you would like. I have been running it as the Cult of the Red Grief because of how fast they are. But let's dive into the different units. Of course, the Triple Tantalus is the main force of the list. And I will tell you, I've played this list 4 or 5 times already since before recording this video. I have learned quite a lot into a variety of different factions. And I cannot wait. I have this new video format that I'm going to be trying out. It's very similar to my tournaments and review, where I essentially develop army lists game by game and show you the changes I'll be making in real time as I develop lists. Something that I'm hoping will come in handy in the new edition of Warhammer 40,000. The list itself is based around 2 succubi. I've got my Master Warlord Succubus with the Triptych Whip and Precision Blows, and then I'm running a secondary Succubus with Quicksilver Fighter, Blast Pistol, and because I'm running Red Grief, I can give her the Blood Glaive, which I'm really, really excited about. In the Elite slot, I'm running a unit of 6 Mandrakes just to go around and do secondary actions, as well as a Beast Pack Master. Now, the Beast Pack Master, I have given the Animus Vitae Grenade Relic so that I can get that sweet, sweet advance and charge on turn 1 if my opponents get too close, or give me the +1 to hit on turn 2, or give me the +1 save on turn 3, which can be pretty handy. The Beast Pack that comes with is 5 Razorwing Flocks. That is a lot of wounds. 2 Chimera that have, in most of my games, just sat back in the back corner and hold my objective, and a single Clawed Fiend. In the fast attack slot, I have, as well as the beasts, 10 Hellions, one of my favorite units in the whole Dark Eldar range, Drukhari range, 2 units of 3 Reaver Jet Bikes with blasters to help me get those sweet, sweet behind enemy line points. Then we go into the troop slots. This is the meat and potatoes of the Witch Cult list. But I have 4 units of 5 witches with no upgrades, a large unit of blood brides with a power sword, blast pistol, hydra gauntlets, and shardnet and impaler. There's the 4th little squad of 5. And another squad of 10. I'm actually missing a model there. But 10 more with another power sword, blast pistol, and a shardnet and impaler. And then to run this entire list, we've got 3 Tantalus, or Tantali, and 2 Venoms with a single cannon and splinter rifles. That is 2,000 points. This Witch Cult list has 0 chill. I think I've played about 5 games with it so far, and in every single game, it burns like gasoline. It burns hot and fast, and it runs out of steam by turn 3 or 4. And by run out of steam, I mean most of the army is dead. I would say this type of army is not for the faint of heart. You have to really be quite aggressive in order to play very, very well with this list. And into the different games that I've played, I'll go over each game and kind of talk about the pros and cons of the different units that I've used in the list. So I've played against Astra Militarum that had lots of super heavy tanks, so lots and lots of guns. I played against Votann with triple Hecaton Land Fortress. That's right. I played against Necrons with obelisks, monoliths, and the Silent King and a Tesseract Vault. And I've played against Custodes with a variety of different units, so Venatari, Guard, Jet Bikes, Caladius grav tanks, the whole kit and caboodle in terms of what that does. Something I've learned to respect are, of course, the succubus. They are just incredibly powerful at what they do. I love using them in a more reserved role for turn 2 or turn 3 because they just pack just as much of a punch as most of the units in this list. So keeping your succubus alive for as long as possible tends to be an incredibly powerful tool. The Hellions are a bit of a hammer unit. They are good to hide until turn 2 or turn 3, where their incredible speed can just fly up the table and target units that are trying to hide from the main assault. Also, this unit is one of my favoritely painted units of my list, and I love using them at every chance I can get. The beasts are an interesting choice. Now, why would I take beasts? Number 1, because I can, and I think they're cool. Number 2, it's nice to have a grenade caddy, which is what the Beast Pack Master is. Last but not least, this unit right here has been one of the most useful units. It's 20 points for 2 Chimera, and they sit on my backfield objective, allowing the rest of my army to go forward. The 2 Chimera, the Clawed Fiend, and the Wraithwing Flocks are move blockers, zoning out the back of the table, and by zoning out I mean preventing things from deep striking in my back zone, and they're incredibly cheap. This allows the rest of the army to do its job by getting aggressive and killing the enemy. Originally, I had built this army with 3 squads of 10 witches, 1 squad of 10 for each Tantalus. However, after playtesting a couple of games, I split one of the squads into 2 of 5, so I have 4 5-strong units. This has really allowed me to play match play, do actions, get into table quarters, tie up things, and just sacrifice 5 witches to do something instead of 10 witches. The Blood Brides, though, are one of the killers of the list. They are incredible. They're fast, and they're very, very killy. And I love them. With Red Grief, they're allowed to fight and then use the Athletic Aerialist's stratagem to essentially jump back into their transport as well. So they can multiply go out, kill something, and then hop back into the transport. Makes them very hard to take down unless you kill the transports that are accompanying them. Of course, the Reaver jet bikes are there for behind enemy lines, move blocking, tying things up in close combat. They are just an excellent thing to add to any Dark Eldar list nowadays. To round it all off, we've got 2 Venoms, of course, to transport the little squads of witches around, and 3 Tantalus. At 220 points, they are essentially a Raider and a Ravager and a Venom, all tied up into one, and they are worth every penny. They can't hide because they have 18 wounds behind big, pieces of terrain if they have any windows or whatever, so that is a bit of a shame. And you will lose them. They will die, but they move incredibly fast. With a 16-inch move, they move as fast as a Venom. Their giant sail allows them to advance 12 inches instead of a D6, so they can go 28 inches. Now, if it's turn 2, they can also charge after that. If it's turn 1 and the enemy got too close and you get to throw your grenade, then they can do that on turn 1. They even do mortal wounds when they charge into units on a 4+, and they have a decent amount of AP2 2 damage attacks in close combat. Not too shabby for a giant bladed craft. All in all, the list is fast, it's aggressive, it essentially is designed to score as many points in the first 3 or 4 turns as possible, and then usually there's no army left. But you usually have such a high advantage in the score that doesn't matter, your opponent just cannot come back from the score. Now, what kind of secondaries am I using? Well, behind enemy lines is a big one. I'm also using retrieve battlefield data, and usually something like take them alive, no prisoners, or bring it down, depending on my opponent. I get the question as to what combat drugs I give my witches all the time. And with this list, I'll be honest, I've been rolling combat drugs for everything. You don't have to do that. I would say that's more of a flex in my sense, because I'm like, I could use all the drugs. However, I recommend, whatever you do, give the Beast Pack Master +1 ballistic skill, +1 leadership, because you want that grenade to hit more often than not. Give both of your succubi the +1 attack when they charge drug. Give the Blood Brides the +1 strength combat drug. And then you can kind of mix and match with the rest of them. If you want to pick all of the drugs, I would pick the plus 2 inches of movement for all the 5 strong units. I would give the plus 1 attack to the secondary 10 strong unit. I would give the plus 2 inches of movement to the jet bikes. And then to the Hellions, I would probably roll because they are all really useful on the Hellions. Leave a comment down below. Let me know what you like and what you dislike. This, of course, was voted by everybody on YouTube after my latest tournament, and I have been having such a fun time playing this army list. I hope you get some inspiration from this, and let me know what it is that will inspire you to maybe play with some gladiators in the future. And there you have it, folks. Thanks a lot for tuning in to this video. Of course, like, share, and subscribe if you'd like more awesome content as we start ramping up for the new edition of Warhammer 40,000 and more Dark Eldar Drukhari all the time. A huge shout out to the channel Patreons, without whom none of this would be possible. It's thanks to the Patreon supporters that I get to do content. So if you'd like to support the channel, the best way is on Patreon. The link is in the description. Of course, if you've already watched this far, that is plenty good for me. Thank you so much. Leave a comment and let me know what you want to see in the new edition for the Witches.